Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we're going to be discussing the 2020 film Wonder Woman 1984. And of course is a sequel to the 2017 film Wonder Woman, both starring Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It also stars Chris Pine reprising his role as Steve Rogers. And of course, with the crazy way they brought him back in this movie was a little bit nuts. Of course, this film does take place in the year of 1984, and hence the year in the title. And what happened was, until 40 years takes place between the first movie and this one. And of course, Wonder Woman or Diana Prince didn't age in the 40 years since World War II to 1984, and so she lives in privacy. Once in a blue moon, she will come out as Wonder Woman and save and help somebody who is in trouble, like a plane crash or somebody getting beat up, or rescue somebody from a car crash, stuff like that. But other than that, she's like few and far between when she acts like help someone out. So during this time, there was this big shot business guy, Max Lord, who wants to be the most powerful and biggest name in the world, almost kind of like a Donald Trump figure. Of course, actually, Donald Trump had nothing to do with this thing, with the comic book character. But what he wanted was, he found out that Diana Prince was working with another woman in the museum trying to catalog, Prince's artifacts that were found in an archaeology dig. And what was found was this stone. It's kind of like a Rosetta Stone, but different. I mean by that is that this stone, if you hold the stone in your hand and you make a wish on it, the wish will come true. But on the other hand, it will create something twice as bad to you. If you wish for something positive, it will create something negative, to balance it out. So Max Lord had gets this stone and wishes to grant wishes or to be the stone. He makes this crazy wish that he would be the stone and grants wishes to anybody who want to have a wish. So he essentially becomes a human stone, or wishing stone, I guess they called it. And everything he does so, something worse happens throughout the world, because he's giving these wishes to people who he felt deserved it in some way. And the woman who was doing this cataloging of the stone wished that she had the type of powers that Diana Prince has, or has those abilities, because naturally Diana Prince, or Gal Gadot is beautiful, she's strong-willed, she's confident, she has all these positive things of being a strong, beautiful woman, and she doesn't have that. So she wishes to be that, and eventually this other, this woman who was working with Diana, eventually becomes her arch nemesis, Cheetah, or the Cheetah. Of course, Cheetah from the Wonder Woman comic books. She's like the number one enemy in the only Wonder Woman enemy that I know of other than Nazis. Because I know Wonder Woman was supposed to be based in the 1940s and then eventually into the present day in the 1970s, but I knew it from the TV show. I should bring it up in a minute. So what happened was, she becomes Wonder Woman's chief nemesis, like Lex Luthor was with Superman, or the Joker or Batman. You always have the one villain that you always remember from whatever comic book superhero you're reading about. And Cheetah was featured in the Super Friends TV cartoon series back in the 70s. When they had the 1 year, the challenge of the Super Friends, when the Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, and Cheetah was the counterpart to Wonder Woman's character, Wonder Woman in that series. Anyway, I digress. So she eventually becomes Cheetah, and you don't really see her as Cheetah till about 3/4 of the way through this movie, which is kind of when you see her eventually progress into Cheetah, but you don't see her as the Cheetah until about, like I said, 3/4 of the way through this movie. So you're literally 75% into this movie, and then you finally see her for the last 25% of the film, which is sad. But you'd like to see her as Cheetah longer, so we can have more of a battle between her and Wonder Woman. But even though when this movie came out, in the COVID year 2020, a lot of people gave it a lousy write-up, and it was delayed. If they technically, it came out in 2021 because of the stupid virus, as I like to call it. But they delayed the film, and they gave it mediocre reviews. And I saw it, as I didn't think it was that bad. I think Wonder Woman 1984 was a little bit better than the original movie. Even though the original movie is, an origin story for Wonder Woman, and it was done well, like with Superman or Christopher Reeve, or the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire. If it's done well, it would be great. But we have so many superhero films over the last 10 to 15, or since that really last 20 years, really, when the Spider-Man movies started coming out, you really didn't have a really good origin story since I think maybe since the first Spider-Man film. Even with the DC Comics films, you really didn't have a really good origin story. I mean, they focus more on the action than forget the plot. That's why the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire were good, because they focused on the plot and not so much on the action. The same thing with the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. They focused more on the plot than the action scenes. The action scenes were few and far between, and they build up to the action scenes in those films. Here, they hit you over the head, action right away, and if you blink, you miss what the actual plot is. Same thing with Wonder Woman 1984. It's just as guilty as just about all the other superhero films of recent years, because they don't want comic book movies to slowly build up to the action scenes, like in the Christopher Reeve Superman films, and you have the one big action scene in the end, and that's it. And people get bored because they expect to see like you read in the comic books, action on every single panel in a comic book, and that's what they expect to see in a comic book movie. But I'd rather have the plot that build up to the action scenes and not have like 90%, 95% action and 5% plot. But with the Wonder Woman, they did slowly build up to the action scenes a bit. In Wonder Woman 1984, they kind of slowly build up the plot, or should I say, they slowly build to the action scenes, and they build up to it, which I kind of like a little bit of this movie, because they slowly build up to that. So that I appreciate as a fan of the movie and a fan of the character. And of course, I mentioned earlier that the Wonder Woman television show, which I grew up with, and the Wonder Woman television show, even though I didn't do a separate review of that, the Wonder Woman TV show was as guilty as any other superhero show that was on television at that time, in the 70s and into the early 80s. The Incredible Hulk. You really only had three main superhero shows back then. You had the Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. You had Spider-Man with Nicholas Hammond, and you had Wonder Woman with Linda Carter. What those three shows were guilty of, and was they didn't have the actual villains from the particular comic book characters into those television shows. Same thing with the Superman TV show in the 1950s, was also guilty of that. The only show that actually had the villains was the Batman TV show for the 1960s. As campy as that was, as long you at least you had you had the Joker, you had the Riddler, you had the Penguin, you had Catwoman, you had Mr. Freeze in the Batman TV, and of course you also had a whole bunch of other sillier villains in the Batman TV show. But at least you have the iconic Batman villains in the Batman TV show. But all the other superhero television shows, until the most recent ones they're out on television now, like The Flash or Superman and Lois, at least they have the Superman villains in there, or the Flash villains in there. In the 70s and 80s, you didn't have in the cartoons. You had the villains. You had the iconic villains, like the Super Friends cartoons or the Batman cartoons in the 90s. You had the the actual Rogues Gallery for the Batman comics in the cartoons. But in the live action shows, you just didn't have it. But at least they're correcting that in the movies by having the actual villains from the comic books into the movies. Of course, like I also mentioned earlier, that Wonder Woman 1984 actually ends with the original, well, technically not the original Wonder Woman, but the only one that's more iconic in that role, Linda Carter, in the final in the post-credit sequence at the end of the movie. When you have the end credit sequence, you have Linda Carter and then kicking somebody's butt at the end of Wonder Woman 1984. So, and she says like a wink, nod to the audience. I've been doing this for a very long time. And kind of like a wink to the audience. But Linda Carter still looks, I don't know how old Linda Carter is now, but she still looks great. I mean, she still looks gorgeous, Linda Carter. It's like the woman has never aged. But same thing with Gal Gadot, she never ages either. But she also looks terrific in the role. The reason why I'm saying that Linda Carter was not the original Wonder Woman, she played the part in the TV show, but Kathy Lee Crosby was the original actress who played Wonder Woman in a Wonder Woman TV movie. But unfortunately, when they made the TV show, they didn't bring her back to play the TV show. When Wonder Woman was picked up as a television series, she did not play the part. Kathy Lee Crosby was not hired to play the part. They went with Linda Carter because she kind of looked more like the comic book character than Kathy Lee Crosby did. I'm not saying that Kathy Lee Crosby was a bad actress. I'm just saying that Linda Carter looked more like the character than Kathy Lee Crosby did. But it is what it is. The TV show. I'm still a fan of the TV show. Still a fan of Linda Carter. I'm not crazy about politics, but I'm still a fan of hers. And also kind of a mild fan now of Gal Gadot, because I thought she was terrific in the role. As Wonder Woman, I think she played the part. I think now for grand total maybe 4 times. She has played Wonder Woman for like 4 times now, and I thought she was terrific in the role. I think she's great in the role. Even though when she had the 2017 film, she was pregnant at the time. Believe it or not, Gal Gadot was actually pregnant at that time. I think she's pregnant again now, as the time of doing this video. But she's done. I think Gal Gadot has done a great job, and I think this is the role that actually is making her career right now. It's making her into I think she might have been a mild international star before this movie, before she played Wonder Woman, but now she's really an international star now. For playing this character, I think about 4 times now. 2 were all single movies, and the Batman, for the Superman film, I think she was in that, and of course the Justice League movie, which I really didn't care for the Justice League movie. I think the original cartoon back in the 70s was much better than that movie was. But as a film, I liked Wonder Woman 1984 better than I did the original, the 2017 film. So that's my review of Wonder Woman 1984. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. If you want to watch all my videos, not only go to on my YouTube channel here, but also on rowdyc.com. That's all WDY.com. There's a homepage for your Rowdy Reviewer. Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on this website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.